Okay, those online listening, Sam here again. Vice Chair Lundberg has arrived, so we're going to get started in just a moment. Just one clarification for board members who are online. When it comes to voting for items, if you could please give us your name first and then your vote so that we can make sure to identify that for the record. That would be much appreciated when it comes to those items. We'll make sure that we share our screen for those items that are being projected. The presentation, we have a couple of reports that'll be on display so that you can at least hopefully view those instead of just the pretty face of Anna sitting behind the camera of the laptop, since it's our only working camera at the moment. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll have a call to order here for this meeting today, November 20th, 9 a.m. here in the CUWCD headquarters. We'd like to welcome everyone here who is present as well as online. I will be conducting the meeting, Vice Chair Carolyn Lundberg, until our chair, Mayor Kaufusi, is able to join us. So just to first kick off, we will follow along in the agenda of this session. We'll first have a roll call, and I'll start here on my left, and then we'll go to those online.
Sam Brager, Utah Lake Authority.
Luke Peterson, Utah Lake Authority.
Skylar Belcher, County Commission.
Mark Johnson, Lehigh Mayor.
Carolyn Lundberg, Linden Mayor.
Hillary Hungerford, UPO.
Todd Mackey, Director of Division of Water Quality.
All right, and those.
And Ben Steierman is right there.
Walking in. Okay. He's accounted for. And then let's go to those online. If you could please state your name and who you're representing.
Julie Fulmer, Vineyard City.
Cameron Dalton, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity.
All right.
I'm here also. Lene Millett, Orem City Council.
Thank you, Lene. Anyone else? All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. We do constitute a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and proceed. We'd like to welcome everyone else who is also participating online. At this point, item number 2, we do have an opportunity if there's any reports or disclosures or recusals by board members at this time.
Mayor, if I can just have a moment for a brief report. I hope everybody can hear me. Are we doing good online?
Yes. The microphone's on.
Okay. I just wanted to let the authority know that the Utah Lake Water Quality Study has reached a milestone of sorts. We have spent a lot of time working on one particular element of that study. It's called atmospheric deposition. It has to do with how many nutrients are being deposited into the lake from the wind. There's been, I'm going to say, almost groundbreaking science that's had to be developed by many partners to get to this point. I finally released the final report. I think it was last week, so it's out and it's available. This is the report of the Utah Lake Water Quality Study Science Panel. The Science Panel was formed to address scientific questions that are directed to them by steering committee, which is part of the framework of the study. And so their purpose has really been to be focused strictly on science and to not be involved in policy decisions, but to really bring in all the science they can. Really appreciate the hard work, hundreds of hours put in by the science panel group getting to where we are. We think that we've done the best we can in a fairly new area of science to produce unbiased results, unbiased decisions. Really looking forward to applying those results to move forward to further action so that we can work towards advancing protection of Utah Lake. Any questions?
Can you send it to the report?
We can. Is Scott here? Is it public now? Is it on the website now?
No, it's not yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay. Can we distribute it out to authority members?
Just provide that to us, we can send it out.
We'll let you know when it's available.
That is great. Very
Yeah.
exciting. You said groundbreaking science.
Well, there's been, the methods that are used to gather data have evolved over several years, and there's still debate. The science will continue, but we are not doing a research project. This is not to try to answer a question that creates new questions that we go to answer. We need to also be able to move forward with developing ideas for protecting the lake. So we'll not ignore future science. But nonetheless, we need to put a bow on this study so that we can move forward, finishing up one more study, and towards developing alternatives and ideas and working more broadly with the steering committee and the authority as well, among other stakeholders, to derive a path forward for improving water quality.
Great. Go
I
ahead.
do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
If I can. So when you say the study, you have a lot more information on wind-borne particulates, if you will. What kind of particulates? Is it like sand? What kind of material is that we're looking at?
Fantastic question. It's everything that falls from the sky onto a collector of some sort. And there's been several different designs, passive and active designs. So it's gathering dust and then analyzing that dust for chemical species, nitrogen, phosphorus in particular.
All right, any other questions? Thank you for that report. We look forward to learning more about that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, any other comments or reports by board members?
I'd like to
Thank
give
you.
an update. So to complement the work that John and his team have done, the legislature had also appropriated funding for Utah Lake Study. We've gone through the competitive process and have a contractor for that. We're still crossing the T's and dotting the I's. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll have a signed contract. We can announce who will be undertaking that study. Also, we're updating our comprehensive management plan for Utah Lake. I reported on this in our last board meeting. We're hosting another public meeting tonight. It's the last of our public meetings. It's from 6 to 8 at DNR, but has a hybrid version. So we would invite any members of the board and the public to join and participate. And then also I'd like to just extend an invite to any of the cities, county, anybody that would like to sit down and have a one-on-one about how we can better complement what you're doing in your city and how you interface with the lake. With our plan, we'd really like this to be something that's beneficial to the folks surrounding the lake and also the entirety of the lake. So please reach out if you would like to have that meeting. Otherwise, if you'd simply like to be in the know, you can also go to our website. I'll send it to the link to Sam, but there's a survey you can fill out and tell us your thoughts about how the plan has been useful in the past or what you'd like to see in the new plan. And also the ability to select points where you can say, here's an area that I love that I want to protect, or here's an area where there's been a problem that we have identified and we'd like you all to try to address that in your plan. So yeah, I'll send that out and hopefully we get some good feedback from the board and those to some of your constituents for those that are elected as well. Feel free to share that survey out. It's open to the end of the year. And also that you don't mind posting that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, we'll move forward now to item number 3 on our agenda. This is the public comment section. So just as a friendly reminder, we ask if anyone would like to make a public comment to invite them up to the microphone there and limit the comment to 2 minutes. And just a reminder that we cannot take any action on comments. They would have to be publicly noticed. And then also if anyone online, maybe there's someone who cannot come here in person, we do accept comments that may be submitted 7 days before any particular meeting to Anna at utahlake.gov. Their comments you'd like to have shared with the board. So I'd open up public comment at this time if anyone would like to come forward. We're just checking if anyone online has raised their hand.
This is Cameron and nothing to report at this time.
Same for me. This is Julie Fulmer.
All right, wonderful. Okay, we will move to item number 4. These are our consent items. And we first have the approval of our September 18th ULA board meeting minutes. If anyone has any changes or additions to that, this would be the time to bring those forward. And if seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Second.
All right, we have a motion by board member Johnson and seconded by board member Beltran. Any further discussion? All right, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is board member Dalton online.
Julie Fulmer, aye.
Lene Millet, aye.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, they are approved. Then the next item on our consent agenda is the approval of our ULA financial reports for the time period from July through September 2024. So if there are any questions about them, they are presented in a new format.
Yeah.
So we'll have Sam. go
If I
ahead
may,
and
real
explain
quick,
that a little bit.
just want to double check with the board members if there was any concerns, questions. It's a slightly different format of report because starting in July is when we hired on Paramount Tax and Accounting. And so we used to have just a 1-page, very basic report that Eric or I generated in Excel. And now it's turned into a 3-page report with a lot more detail for you. Nothing big in the changes on them, but just wanted to check to see if there was any questions or concerns on the financial report, since this is the first time seeing this new format from any board members.
Sam, this is board member Dalton. No concerns, but I would maybe make a recommendation. If there's the ability to see different summaries, for example, some year dates, these were broken out in kind of monthly or period financials, which is fine, but it's nice to see kind of our year-to-date summary totals as well. And I did not see those in the packet.
I can double check on that. I thought we had that included, but I agree with your point. In the past, we did have a year-to-date total. So I can double check. In fact, Anna, do we have them pulled up right now?
Yes, sorry, we're doing IT back here.
Okay. Cameron, if it's not in there, I'll make sure it is. And if it's not in there, I'll make sure we send out revised ones to the board so that we have that available for you.
Thank you, Sam. Just as a general principle, I mean, the best for me is always to see year to date and then comparison against budgets are kind of the two numbers that I like to look at.
Thank you, sir.
All right, anyone else have a suggestion on the layout?
This is board member Dalton, and not a suggestion, but just so that you know, from the online perspective, we do now have a camera feed. So thank you. It looks like you're kind of working on that, but thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate it.
Thank you for that update. Wonderful.
Oh.
All right, so this is an item that we need to approve. So if there are no further comments or questions, we'd be ready to receive a motion on the consent agenda item.
I'll make a motion on that as well to approve the consent agenda item.
All right, we have a motion by Mayor Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Beltran. Any further discussion? All right, we will call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Julie
Aye.
Fulmer, aye.
Cameron Dalton, aye.
Lene Millet, aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, the motion carries, and we'd like to now welcome Chair Mayor Kaufusi, who has been, as usual, she's taking care of a lot of people and a lot of delegations from around the state quite frequently, and she has just stepped in. So we're going to turn over the running of the meeting to her and continue now on item number 5.
Thank you. It feels so much. I'm feeling at home and comfortable speaking to over 200 people. That's not fun. This is a lot more fun.
Go have a bagel.
I eat my feelings. All right, let's go ahead. Thank you. I appreciate Mayor Lundberg for covering for me till I can get done with that here. Let's move then, yes, to item number 5, staff and committee reports. Our first item is Executive Director Rob report, Luke Peterson. So Luke, take it away.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. Excited to be here today and be able to present. I am assuming somebody who's not me is going to progress the slides. Is that right? Good morning, Anna. Before we dive in, I want to talk a little bit about the Nature Center. I don't really have slides for it, but just I guess a progress update. Thank you. As I think most or all of you know, we are working towards getting a Utah Lake Nature Center, and working with Utah Valley University, who would be the host institution for the facility, with the city of Linden as the landowner for it and a surrounding park. And of course, we're very grateful to Congressman Curtis, now Senator-elect Curtis, for securing $5 million for that building. During the legislative session, we're going to pursue another $17 million in order to be able to complete it. And I'm working very closely with UVU on that. It is kind of an interesting situation for a variety of reasons that govern how institutions of higher education can pursue a building. ULA has to lead out on advocating for the building rather than UVU. And so I'll be busy at the session this next year. And if anybody from the board ever wants to go up with me, I would welcome it. So I just wanted to give you an update on that, where we're at on all that. And yeah, we're looking forward to an exciting session, see how all that goes. Okay. So we had the Utah Lake Symposium. I think it was a success, had about 150 attendees. This year we tried having 2 days instead of just one. Last year it was very technical, science-focused symposium, which was great. We did that again this year, but we also added a policy day that was more focused towards a lay audience. Congressman Curtis and Owens served as keynotes for that, and had a very positive reception. We were able to talk a lot about the Nature Center, and we also had quite a bit of press coverage. So in addition to our audience of 150 individuals, the press coverage from it reached about 400,000 Utahns, which ain't bad. So we were very happy with that, and looking forward to doing it again this next year. We'll plan to do the same thing, have a policy day, as well as the more technical day once again. We, 3 of us, me, Addie, and Sam, attended NALMS. This is the North American Lake Management Society. Yes, there is a society for that. And it was in Lake Tahoe this a couple of weeks ago. And we were very excited to be able to actually go to a conference that was about lakes. We go to conferences that deal with the tiny aspect of what we do, but it was nice to go to one that had a much broader focus. I went in there with sort of a singular mission, which was to work towards getting my fellow lake managers across the country a little more focused on public policy. And we learned that they have a defunct public policy committee, and I'm working on getting it resurrected. So I think it's important. We have lakes in all 50 states, but not an organized effort around advocating for them in DC. So that was kind of our big mission from that. And we, on this particular field trip, Addie and I narrowly missed running into bears. So it's good times. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the 2025 Great Carp Hunt. This is in Poland, okay? This isn't Utah Lake, but just for the record. We have talked a little bit about this. We're trying a number of things to mitigate carp at Utah Lake, as you all know, but a pipe dream that I had when I came in was that we democratize those efforts a little bit. So we will be running a carp competition that will run all year next year. We will have a competition effectively at the end of each month to see who can bring in the most fish, the most poundage of carp. And then across that year, a person can come compete every single month that they want. But whoever has brought in the most pounds of carp for the year will win a grand prize of $5,000. So we're trying to create an incentive to get people out there, as well as provide some education about why getting rid of carp is so critical to the health of Utah Lake. And we'll see how it goes, but we're excited about that initiative and look for some press coverage about it coming up. The only other thing I wanted to say that I don't have a slide up for here as well, we are very close to having our ads done, developed by Harmon Brothers for the lake. I don't know how much to say about it. They involve a couple of German tourists visiting Utah Lake. So that's all I'm going to say for now. They will be very funny. We will release it to the press sometime in January, and then start running the ads most likely in March. But we'll share them with you as soon as we have them done. That's all for me from now. Are there any questions? Okay. Sam.
So our next item is operations and recreation, and Sam will do this one.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, I've spoke the last couple of meetings about the Eco Counter projects because I'm just so excited about it every time I have to tell you what the update is. So a reminder, these Eco Counters are visitation counters for us. So this is counting either pedestrians or vehicles at all 20, I keep saying all 28 access points in the process of our recreation access plan, though. I'm finding out there's actually a few more access points that we may need to add in that are on record. But we have 27 of them installed. That's a map showing it's clustered. So there's 3 in the area around Lincoln Point. There's 3 more closer to Sandy Beach, et cetera. We have a couple of changes that we're going to add in here at the end. The Pearl River Delta project just opened up. And so we plan on putting in 2 different counters at the Delta site to be able to track visitation there. And then the Airport Dyke Road access needed some adjustments. We did a vehicle counter, or excuse me, we did a pedestrian counter because vehicles aren't allowed unless they're official vehicles beyond a certain point. However, we didn't know that said vehicles, because they're hot and the pedestrian counter uses a infrared counter, that it would count not just 1 count for every car, but hundreds because of the level of heat. So we worked with the Eco Counter on a technology adjustment so that it will be able to separate between vehicles and pedestrians that go out on that Dyke Road. That way, all of the airport tower people aren't being counted as hundreds and hundreds of people, and the mayor freaks out because all of her residents are going out to the airport road. So we'll work on that adjustment. The data collection has begun, so I wanted to show you kind of a couple of previews of what kind of information that we'll be able to utilize from this project to help us. So this is a screenshot showing all of the access points that are installed from when they started collecting, and the first ones were installed in the very beginning of August. So this is a few months worth of data on the early ones. Some of them might only have a week or 2 because they were installed later. But you can see already we're tracking some really interesting numbers. There are a couple of access points, and I can't remember if this will work to show. Aha! So there are a couple it doesn't show any data for. In order to do some cost savings on the software side of things, we did select several that are only remote access collections. So quarterly, we'll send a staff member out to collect that data on site, and that just helps keep our ongoing costs a little bit lower. So that just shows you a total count recorded at those counters. This shows you an example of some of the reports we'll be able to produce from this. If any of you are familiar with the MAG, Mountain Land Association of Governments counters, these are very similar because they use the same technology. But this shows that total we've recorded 95,000 visits across those. Now, again, we're going to have to do some trial and error and some cleaning of this data because, for instance, at Vineyard Beach, 22,500. The location of the counter is a great bottleneck for catching people visiting the beach, but because of the setup of that location, the parking is across the street and the counter is at the top of the stairs down to the beach. And so if anybody's going back and forth to unload a vehicle, that's going to be multiple counts. So we will have to do some adjusting as we start collecting this data to refine it a little bit. But this shows just some examples of what peak days looks like, right? In the time period so far, August 31st was that peak day and that many visits. We have a heat map demonstrating where we're seeing the most visitation and a lot of other information. So we're really excited to have this to inform both our agency and other agencies' management decisions in how to protect areas and conserve them, as well as where to provide, how to prioritize improvements of amenities and access for people at the lake. The other project that I've been overseeing is the Recreation Access Plan. So we just kicked off this planning effort. We hired Bike Utah as our consultant on the project. On the left side of the screen, it illustrates the 5 tasks that they were assigned. So basically assessing the current state of access points, evaluating future improvements, gathering and evaluating stakeholder and public input, writing the actual plan document that will include all of the strategies and goals and the timeline that we'll have, and then also developing an annual feedback strategy, because we want to be able to pivot quickly to meet the needs of users at the lake instead of sticking to a 10-year plan that we created however many years ago, and that comes. So as far as some updates on this project, first, Bike Utah is just about complete with their on-site assessment. So they visited all, I think this week they're visiting the last access point, and they're doing a multifaceted evaluation. They'll give each access point a score based on the amenities that it has, the condition everything is in, if there's garbage, if there's vegetation issues, if parking is limited, if the road is in need of repair, or vice versa, if those things are doing well. And so they'll provide that to both our staff as well as to our Recreation Access Plan work group that we formed. And this is a group of, I think, almost 30 individuals pulling from all of the shoreline cities, the county, several state agencies, and a couple of nonprofits that are all interested in recreation, have some tie to trails or water sports or land management, et cetera, to help inform this plan as it develops. So they did a workshop with us in that work group last week on Thursday that went really well. We had a lot of great feedback from that group. In particular, I wanted to highlight something I appreciate from the group is an interest in prioritizing improvements at our existing access points. I think this is something people often miss, is that we already have 28, 30 great access points, meaning they're already secured, everything's already in place, and we can improve those. We'd like to keep that a priority, as well as securing additional access points as opportunities arise. Something else I really appreciated from the work group was the importance of stressing the educational element of recreation. This was a big theme at the symposium around the science as well, and it provides clear direction for us as staff to be able to continue to prioritize educating the public about what's happening at the lake, about the amenities that are available, and encouraging them to go down there. And it makes me even more excited for the Harmon Brothers campaign to start as kind of the tip of the spear of that effort. A few things we added into this project afterwards that I wanted to highlight is we requested Bike Utah to do 4 landowner workshops. So they basically broke the lake into 4 quadrants, more or less northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. And that'll be a chance for landowners to come in person, meet with our staff and Bike Utah to discuss their concerns or their priorities as adjacent landowners. As a reminder, Utah Lake is somewhat unique. I believe at last count, we were somewhere around 480 adjacent parcels to the sovereign land of the lake. And the ownership of that is in, I think the last time I checked, it was around 300 different landowners. So we want to work well with that group. We also asked them to add a workshop specifically with another work group that we have, our Conservation and Trails work group. That's working with several nonprofits like Conserve Utah Valley, Utah Open Lands, and others to be able to prioritize conserving the shoreline of the lake and protecting it, as well as trying to find a path forward for the plan to have the trail go all the way around the lake. One other item on those work groups, the Utah Lake Symposium, our plan is to have a minimum annual meeting with the work groups and more meetings as needed. This year, we were able to have the advisory committee, the Conservation and Trails work group, and our landowners stakeholder group meet, which was a great effort, really enjoyed that. We've also started up a vegetation work group that Addie is overseeing for plans for the shoreline restoration efforts. We have a planning work group that works with all the various marinas and some of the city planners and other agencies like Central Utah Water and others to keep in mind what's coming down the road. And then, as I mentioned already, the recreation access work group. The winter webinar, I think I'll hit on. Yeah, with the landowners, stressing our point that we want to work closer with landowners. One thing that they were interested in our meeting with them was better access to education. And so right now we have a survey out to all of the landowners asking for their input on what would they like to learn more about, whether that's harmful algae blooms or lake management plans, or which organization is in charge of what, or what plans are going on, so they might have a better chance to connect and be aware, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're hoping to do that over the winter as kind of a winter webinar series to provide access for them to be able to learn more and be able to connect better into the process of managing the lake. Last slide for me, just a couple of more broad updates. We're currently loosely planning every January any needs around policy or guidance for our agency as we operate to be a standard update. So just a note to look forward to, although maybe not all of you look forward to policy updates, I'm not sure, but at the January meeting, we'll have a few policies that we've recently determined we need to add or some edits to existing policies. So we'll have that coming up in January. Our annual audit with the state auditor, we've initiated that contact, and Paramount, I believe, just finished our end of year statements. We were running a little bit behind with setting things up, having them come on in July, but we're initiating that process for our annual audit with them right now. Our mitigation feasibility study is progressing well. A reminder on this is 2 years ago, I think we started looking into the idea of a mitigation bank at the lake. There was an idea to try and negotiate on some land that fell through, and the board requested that we take a pause and evaluate various options to try and secure mitigation credits at the lake. So we've been working with the Mitigation Commission that spearheaded the Pearl River Delta project. They own some other land at the lake that they're willing to donate to be able to mitigate and improve that shoreline. So the feasibility study is we're working with Consor right now to evaluate, is the land a good fit and what do we need to be aware of? For instance, do we need to know about water or other infrastructure? Is the land already have vegetation present? Is there signs of wildlife in the area? Basically determining how good a fit for that will that be. So the study is going well. They've just wrapped up what they refer to as their desktop analysis, which is what can they view from a desktop in their office, looking at satellite imagery, finding records online, and then they'll prepare to go out into the field to do another evaluation then. Another project that we're pursuing that I wanted to bring up is we're looking into creating, or looking into, we are creating a Utah Lake Library. So this is an idea that's been bouncing around in my head for a couple of years because Reed Price, the first director of the Utah Lake Commission, formed I would say, in my opinion, a wonderful hard copy library of a lot of different documents to do with Utah Lake. And that ranged across research projects, proposals, history, and other topics. Unfortunately, it's just sat in storage. I don't think anybody knew it existed, or potentially there's some issues with cataloging. I think they did a good job, but it kind of fell into disrepair. In the process of working with the Herbert Institute on their policy research project on Utah Lake that they presented at our symposium, we discussed this idea and they agreed to partner with us. So we're hiring 2 interns through the Herbert Institute, and we're splitting those costs with them to have these interns do 2 tasks. One, digitize the library that we have, either by scanning or by finding the documents online elsewhere already. And 2, expanding beyond out to other documents with the goal of trying to compile policy, research, and history to do with Utah Lake all in one online searchable database. And our plan is to have that housed through UVU's library. So this would be something to be available to lake managers, to researchers, to the public, and could be added to as time goes. So if there's a document not there, somebody can submit it. Or if new research is done, that can be added with the goal of trying to create a resource that can be referenced easily by anyone to learn more about the lake, and hopefully for us in particular and our partners to make really good management decisions. And we feel this will partner really well with the Utah Lake study that Forestry, Fire, and State Lands is heading up. There'll be some good opportunities for synergy there. So that's beginning hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We are also in the process of procuring an events firm to help us with the carp hunt and some of our other events while Heather is part-time at the moment. And so I think, close that out tomorrow, if I remember correctly. So we'll be bringing on an events firm to support those various events that we're offering. And then as far as other procurement, we are continuing to do more market research. Zoe with Zofo Digital did some perceptions research for us this summer about what people think about Utah Lake. And we're now having her shift that research into 2 additional realms. Basically, the first is expanding to more the amenities now, talking with residents in conjunction with our recreation access plan about what amenities they want to see at the lake, as well as lake users. And then they're also doing an economic impact analysis. This is something we really wanted to pull together so that we can continue to work well with Utah County and the Tourism Tax Advisory Board in supporting funding projects at the lake that matches up with the visitation data that we're grabbing, the impact analysis, and the amenity research that we're doing. So those are some other items as far as operation. I think that is everything for me, unless there are any questions from board members or Luke.
Want to mention the development director?
Oh, yes. Apologies. Let me hit on one other update I forgot to include on the slide. As far as expanding our efforts, Luke had mentioned previously earlier this year with, I think, the budget approval that we were planning on hiring one more full-time position. We took our time to really evaluate where that would be a best fit within our agency. So we have currently posted online a development director job posting. This position is forecasted to have 3 main duties that they'll split their time between more or less equally. The first duty will be overseeing our grant writing. Luke has worked diligently, and our other staff, Addie has worked on grants. Actually, in fact, I think every one of us has submitted at least 1 grant application in this calendar year. And we'd like to be able to pursue additional grants, both at the federal level, state level, nonprofits, and others, and it's a big lift. And so this development director will oversee that. It'll also be supplemented by contracting out some of that grant work to some contractors as well on a case-by-case basis. So they'll oversee the application. As we receive those, they'll oversee the administration and reporting to do with those grants. The other 2 duties are split between contracts and procurement is one, overseeing a lot of what I've been doing around our procurement process, posting and negotiations, and then the contract management to make sure those are going forward. And then the third and final duty will be our fundraising. So they'll be overseeing our sponsorships efforts, donations, as well as things like marketization. Hillary and I were talking beforehand about the Utah Lake Flora t-shirt that hopefully most of you have now, that items like that are a tool that we can use not only as educational and outreach, but also as a funding source potentially for helping to fund some of our events and our conservation of the shoreline and such. So that is a position that's up right now. We plan to have it open until filled, but Luke and I would like to try and see it open for a bit of a longer time, maybe 30 days. We're hoping to hire someone that's been working in these areas for several years, and we've structured the position and the salary accordingly for that. So that is, I think, my last item. Thank you, Luke. Were there any questions? I thought I saw hands starting to raise maybe before Luke spoke. No? Okay. Any questions from board members online? Silence is okay too. If there isn't noise, that's fine.
Answered all their questions, Sam.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to item number 3, events, programs, and sponsorships. So Heather will take this one for 3 minutes.
Anna, can you advance for her? Or do you want me to?
Oh,
Is Anna gonna do it for me?
yep.
Well, thank you everyone for being patient with me as I'm online. You just have to hear my voice today. And I don't want to like double duty because I know Luke already talked about the symposium, but I honestly was really grateful for all the people that came.
Sausage McMuffin? No, just sausage McMuffin. And
I just muted our friend. Okay. Okay. So thanks to everyone who came. I saw a lot of you there, so I appreciate you. We had over 150 participants show up, at various times, and had lots of people that personally came up to me and just said like, wow, this was really great. Like I learned a lot. Thank you for putting this on. So I thought it was really great success. We have just finished our photo contest. It ended like on the 1st. We had over 140 submissions. We had 3 categories. We had wildlife, Utah Lake scenery, and Utah Lake fun. And I'll show you a couple pictures here in a second, but lots of great submissions. It was so hard to pick winners. We had a panel of judges from like our various partners and just like people that are really good at photography to help us pick winners for these categories. And what our hope is we want to create a Utah Lake photo book, just kind of like what you would see like on a coffee table of like someone's in a waiting room. Hopefully give it to each one of you board members so people can just see like the beauty of Utah Lake, like the wildlife that's there. And, you know, it really is something to cherish and a real gem for Utah County. So I will be looking into that as we announce our winners here this week or next. Also upcoming events, basically just working on getting like permits and like really thinking ahead about how we can improve the festival and other events that we have. Like I'll be doing that here the next couple months. Then also we've been working to harp out some details for our 2025 carp competition as well. Okay, so the next slides are our winners. So the first one is our wildlife. I thought that was great. I was like, wow, the fact that the mink is looking at you, like I just thought it was beautiful. And a lot of our judges, that was like definitely like got a lot of 10s. So that's our first place winner for wildlife. Our next one is this picture looks a little different because like it's actually vertical. The slides are supposed to be horizontal, but it's very beautiful. Almost doesn't look real in my person, but that's our first place winner for scenery. So love that. And then our next one is Utah Lake Fun. Just showing that like Utah Lake is a place for recreation and where people should go. So yeah, and then we have our last one, our grand prize winner. So this is a panorama of the Utah Lake, beautifully done. And we were actually discussing that this could be on the front, like on the cover of our book, because like it's so wide, like it's so wide, it can cover the front. So really great entries. We're grateful to all those who participated. And this was a really fun event for me, just because I got to look at so many pretty pictures. So that's all I have for now, but is there any questions? Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Heather. All these great things, Sam. It's just really exciting. The symposium is great. I have a lot of friends I used to be in Conserve, Utah Valley. But I guess there was conflict of interest, I was told, but really value those folks. They're my friends, and I know they really appreciated all the work that went into that. Let's go on then now to number 4, which is communications and outreach. And Anna will take this one. Hi, Anna.
Hello, everyone. I don't have as much stuff to talk about as Sam does, but I do have some pretty good things. So as we all know, our symposium happened. Same things as everyone else said. It was really awesome. And we got video of both days that's working on being posted. We're having some issues with audio from day 2, so it's taking a little bit longer, but day 1 is posted on our YouTube, and day 2 will be done this week, I think. And then social media, it's Native American Heritage Month. So I'm working through looking through the Utah Lake Legacy PDF and getting some good facts to share on social media. I like your shirt.
Oh yeah, my Utah Lake shirt.
Wow. Oh, good. Oh, good. Yay. Okay. Yeah. So there's that. And then the holidays are coming up, so that will mean some fun things. Hopefully, we haven't quite talked about it yet, but we have plans to I have up here a new calendar and planning efforts. We're going to start meeting monthly to kind of plan ahead our social media and figure out more brainstorming, more brains coming together is always a good thing for creative. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's been kind of a long time coming, and we are finally at a point where I think we're able to settle and actually do some planning. And then lastly, for me, we have 4 teachers that are going to be hired for creating new field trip lessons for our 4th graders. This is just to update the curriculum and new activities, because we've gotten a lot of feedback from teachers about how they could change or be more integrated with other subjects or just better. So we're really looking forward to that, and that should start pretty soon. I think Sam and I need to discuss that timeline, but we will do that. And then, yeah, that's it for me. There's a picture of John, Curtis, and Luke with our Utah Lake socks that also Hillary is wearing because she is awesome. Yes.
Could you share what things you're doing in conjunction with Native American Heritage?
Mostly just social media posts. It's a little late now in the year and month to be like planning anything bigger, but that definitely, like the awareness this year definitely leads to the ability to do more in future years. Anything else? All righty. Well, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Presentation. I'm missing one.
It's at the very
Oh, it's
top.
at the
I know, I'm
top.
kind of
There you are.
I'm a little sneakily hidden at the very top of the back page.
So I'm gonna do conservation and restoration efforts and give us a bit of an update.
All right. So again, for everyone online, if you don't know me, my name's Addie Valdez. I am our conservation biologist for Utah Lake Authority, and I'm just here to give you some updates about conservation, restoration, education, outreach that we've been doing since last time I saw you in September, which was a very crazy time for me and continued to be. So I'm happy to give you lots of updates. So one of the first things that I always like to talk about is just different restoration projects that we've been up to. Something that we just completed literally as of last week. I scheduled myself to do all this on Veterans Day, which was not my smartest move, but we were able to get 38 trees installed in both Mill Race and Vineyard Shoreline with a contractor, and that's really exciting because we haven't done any tree work yet, but we're excited to kind of ramp that up a little bit next year. And these were species box elder and river hawthorn. Both of them are longer lived. They both like wetter environments, and they are really great shade trees that provide a lot of habitat for wildlife, but are also nice to look at too. So that's kind of something we really consider when it comes to our species selection for that. So that was kind of the latest thing we just did. But when it comes to our continual Phragmites treatment and our WRI project that we pursue all year long, our transect monitoring that we hired BioWest from Logan to complete, they did finish in October. So we should be getting our full report from that in probably this winter, I am assuming. So we are excited to continue that work and be able to utilize that report to inform our management decisions. And then we have all of our plants ordered for next year. So these are all just those plugs that I've talked about time and time again. This year we're shooting for 40,000. Last year we did 10,000. So 30,000 of these will be planted by the nursery that is growing them, and then 10,000 will be volunteer-based again. So those were very popular events. We're excited to make them a little bit more streamlined this year, but they were very popular, so we want to continue that. All of our pollinator habitat plants, 15,000 of them, I've talked about these previously at our last meeting. They were just getting installed the last time I saw you guys that week, which was a very chaotic week for me. But but they are all installed now. They all look great. Some of them are viewable. So in like the bottom right picture here, you can see, I don't know how to do this little laser thing. Oh yeah. So this is out at Mill Race. Please ignore the tires. These are all plants that were put in by our crew that we hired, and they all look really great as of right now. Still, they're kind of going into dormancy, but this is just an example of what that restoration site can sort of look like. And we also put trees out in that area as well. Another really exciting partnership that we were able to capitalize on towards October was with Timnoga Special Service District and Blake Wellard, who spoke at our symposium. We were able to install, I think it was 45 sod mats of hardstone bulrush, and this was outside of Timnoga Special Service District. So you can see that up here in the top right, we were planting them in at least 3 feet of water with a honors program from UVU that they had a lot of great dedicated students that were able to help out with that, and they got a lot of work done in a short amount of time. But that was just another example of something new that we've done this year that we are looking forward to continuing. And just another fun little thing, I always like to put wildlife pictures on here. This was a little garter snake that was living in the sod mats, which is very cute. So always like to show you guys those fun things. So those are just some things we've been doing restoration wise. Now we're kind of in planning mode. So that takes me to all the funds and grants and all the money that we pursue consistently. So one of the biggest ones that we're working on right now is our Utah Lake Preservation Fund that we received from DWQ a few years ago. We're really trying to put this into action this year. So again, this is $1.5 million that goes to non-point source and water quality improvements. And we have to spend the money by December 26th, and we are applying this all towards kind of a vegetation restoration conservation perspective, I guess, per se. So it's approved so far, and we're looking forward to being able to execute this with the help of the vegetation work group that Sam mentioned. So this is bringing together all of the managers from the state, from the county, that have a lot to do with vegetation research, both in academics and application. So we're really looking forward to using all this expertise to guide these decisions with how much money this is. So we're actually having a meeting this afternoon, and we're really hoping to be able to utilize this funding to improve Utah Lake shorelines continually. And then we, again, will be doing, I guess I'm skipping a point, but WRI, our application is coming up. We will be doing this for another year in a row. I think this is like our 16th consecutive year. We're changing gears, kind of continuing on last year's route of our revegetation work and continual Phragmites removal. So looking forward to doing that as always. And then another application that we're looking forward to putting in is the Division of Water Quality 319 funding. So this is for non-point source issues, anything like that. And so we might be doing 2 applications potentially this year. One is for a stormwater education thing that we are kind of pursuing this year, and then a potentially 9-element watershed plan, which is really important for making water quality and kind of improvement decisions in the Utah Lake watershed. It's hard to kind of build a lot of projects without that. So we're going to try to get that established so that other agencies can move forward as well. And then just cool pictures. These were from some of the news articles, like this bottom right one. This was one at our symposium. That's a fun picture. It's cool. All right, and then this is also from our symposium, our little tour that we did. So education and engagement improvements. Again, we did our symposium. You heard about that. We had a lot of amazing presentation from partners, not only policy-wise, but also science-wise. Everyone was really engaging, and I think it really spread the information well that we like to share in a very digestible way. So that was great. And then our Stormwater Coalition, the Utah County Stormwater Coalition, is making progress towards more education and outreach. We will be holding a webinar/seminar this spring. I think in March we have it scheduled for. So I know all your public works people in the city, and they will be hosting this for their cities. So that is going to be great. Has a lot of agencies involved. And then another thing we're excited for when it comes to education is myself and Heather have been pursuing the UCOR grant. And so it's the Utah Children's Outdoor Recreation Education Grant. and we want to create this kind of ongoing event during our field trip season. It would be an application for it and for a thing called Birdwatcher Wednesdays. So we would be providing, purchasing a ton of binoculars for kids to learn how to use, because I learned recently that is not a common household item like it was for myself. So we're going to be trying to teach kids how to be able to enjoy the outdoors and have the skills to use the tools that are provided to them in order to just engage with the outdoors in Utah Lake. So that's something we're really looking forward to. So that's generally the gist I have. I hope that wasn't too long and crazy, but I would love to take any questions about any of this. So lay it on me if you have them. This is a first. I will take that. Okay, well, I think we're done then, for us at least. Enjoy the rest. Thank you.
A wonderful job, so thank you. Thank you. It's exciting to see all these efforts coming forward. Me too. All right, we're gonna move on to item number 6. There is a need for a closed session. So it'll fall under item D, strategy sessions to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of a water right or water shares. So with that, I'll call for a motion to go into a closed session.
Mayor Kafusi, quick question, if I may, before the vote.
Yes.
Sorry, this is Cameron Dalton, or Board Member Dalton.
I guess from your voice.
My question is simply this: logistically, those of us that are participating online, will we receive a separate link to join that closed session? Or how will we?
Thanks for asking, Cameron. I believe, is it still Cameron, Julie, and Lene online? Are there any other board members? Anna, nobody? Okay, so as long as it's those three, I have a Google Meet link already set. I will text it to all three of you here as we walk over. There's an adjacent smaller room that the board will come into in this back corner. And you guys can join on that for that. And we'll have a recorder there in the room to be able to record the closed session.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. And since I've already interrupted, I would support the motion to move into closed session per the approved items as discussed, or allowed topics.
Yes, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Julie Fulmer, aye.
Renee Millet, aye.
Cameron Dalton, aye.
Lundberg, aye.
Aye. I'm sure Ben's fine with us going into closed session. We're doing a roll call. No, we're great.
Thank you.
Okay, that's everybody, so let's go ahead and move on into our closed session. So
you can stay here.
we're gonna go to this room.
Yeah, if you can stay here with the public, we'll go into this other room here. We're losing stuff.
We want that. I don't want that. We need to do fun things like that. So. There's nice legislative rights.
What are you over?
Yes, that's Okay, perfect. Welcome back, everybody. We're out of our closed meeting now, so thank you. We're going to move on now to item number 7, which is action items. Our first item is an approval of the 2025 ULA board meeting schedule, and Sam would like to take a few minutes on this.
So on this, the main thing I wanted to highlight, the version that we sent you electronically is not correct anymore. We had to change it. We sent it out based on our standard format, which was every other month, the third Wednesday. But in talking with Brady Brammer, we realized why our legislators haven't been present very often, which is the interim meetings are always on the third week and usually on the Wednesday. So the proposed schedule we have before you, physical hard copy in front of you in your agenda packet, is the second Wednesday every other month. So we wanted to just make clear that A, we're showing you a different resolution than what we sent you out because of that change. But B, just to check these dates, is there anything that you could see that automatically triggers second week of such month, we always have X, Y, Z. We've already checked on as many conferences and other meetings as we can, and we don't appear to see any conflicts with this schedule, but wanted to check with the board really quick before asking for your approval of the schedule. Obviously, we can always pivot. We do have to reschedule meetings sometimes, but we need to approve an annual schedule to be compliant with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Exactly. So we've all been doing this now, other boards and commissions we sit on. So I feel like we go ahead and take a motion and end up approving this, and then we can always change it anytime.
I move to approve item 7.1 as noted.
Second. All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Who was the second? Thank you.
Your number. All right, seeing none, we'll call it to a vote. Let's start online with Cameron.
This is Cameron, and yes.
Right, I'm just thinking, who else is on that is Lene? Okay, hi Lene.
Hi, this is Lene. Yes.
Okay, then let's go on to John.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes, myself.
Yes, yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. We'll now move on to item number 7.2, which is consideration and approval of parameters resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of up to $6 million of the authority's general revenue bonds, providing for related matters. Now, does there need to be a change to this motion?
I would like to propose a change to the motion, or excuse me, to the action. So I think we should approve 7.2 as written, however, with the premise that we have one more public meeting to approve the bond prior to engaging the bond. Hopefully I got that right.
Was the number correct on that?
The 6 million?
Yes.
6 million? Okay, perfect. All right, there's the motion. I'm not going to repeat it then. That was awesome.
Second.
And we have a second. Do we have someone's raising their hand with the motion and the second, which you want?
Sorry, when you get into discussion, I'm your bond counsel on this, so we prepared the resolution. It's already contemplated that there will be a separate approval, and that resolution is attached as an exhibit. So I don't really need to modify it because it's already contemplated by the resolution.
So the resolution now, the way I read it was that staff could engage in getting bond options and engaging in the bond. However, the actual expenditure funds would be where the approval would come in.
You may have been looking at the exhibit. So this first resolution, for those of you who have issued bonds, you often will take the first step, and this is the first step. It sets forth certain parameters so that we can do a notice and a 30-day contest period, as well as make a filing with the state commission that we have to for these types of bonds. Then you've got another resolution, a second resolution later. That then delegates to the staff within certain parameters moving forward. This one doesn't yet give that authority. You may have been looking at that exhibit resolution that has that, but this one contemplates that you have to adopt that further resolution before the bonds commission.
With that, then I rescind my motion to add any additional items to 7.2 and would move that we approve 7.2 as written.
That's right. We still have the second by. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Beltran. All right, any discussion from the board? Seeing none, we'll call it to a vote. We'll start online with Cameron. Thumbs up.
I couldn't get to my audio. I apologize. Yes, I vote in favor.
Thank you. Lynette?
Yes, I vote in favor. Thank you.
John?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I am a yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. And
Sorry,
I-
one point of clarification is, Julie still on?
She had
Is
to
she on
leave.
the Zoom, Hannah? Can you
No,
check if
she
Julie's
texted me and said she had to
She had to
step
drop
off.
Okay.
So, we have enough of
Yeah,
a
we're good. We saw the corner. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Call somebody.
Somebody jump on and say yes. All right, we'll move to item number 8, which is the next ULA board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 5th, 2025. Look at that number. At 9 a.m. and will be held at the CUWCD headquarters. So I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. All right. Thank you to those online. We appreciate you.
Thank you, everybody.
It's been a long time since I've been to a loan closing. And so